Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every Rh negative pregnancy.
Welcome you you by Women's Pigs and Springs Economy. This is presented by PSV, Puma, KMI Hospitals, and MPL Sport Foundation. We are at the mid innings of the game between India and Australia, where Australia will need 278 runs to win that match against India at Auckland. To join us and take us through that first innings is former India cricketer Sonia Dabur and World Cup player Julia Price. Thank you, ladies. Well, the good news is you got a lot of your predictions right, and yes, it went like what you sort of visualized as well. Um, it is a 270 plus score. It did look like these guys were getting their act together. Quite a seesaw affair as well. But before we have a look at the scorecard, just quick thoughts. First, from you, Julia. I think India managed to put Australia a bit under pressure there towards the second phase.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they played very, very well. I thought Australia's bowlers, obviously the two awesome catches at the beginning with getting Shafali Verma and Smriti Mandana out pretty early was fantastic. But I think they sort of, I don't know, they just took the foot off the pedal a little bit with Mithali Raj. I didn't see a slip in for her until about 75 balls that she'd faced. It was weird. I don't know why they didn't attack her a little bit more. Darcie Brown didn't even bowl out her overs. She ended up with 3 for 30 off her 8. She should have come back a little earlier and continued on. But all credit to Mithali Raj and Harmanpreet Kaur that got them back on track. It could have gone either way for a while there. I thought the 240 might have been half a chance, but it seems like it's a beautiful pitch. I thought the Australians over-pitched way too much. They should have been bringing it that back of a length to make it more difficult to attack that short straight area like we spoke about in the pre-game. And that was taken advantage of. So full credit to India and particularly the striker at the end there as well. She was fantastic and a really good help and support for Harmanpreet Kaur to allow her to go on her merry way. So, great effort there from India. It's certainly going to be a stretch for Australia, but at the same time, if Australia want to win finals, this is a great way of putting yourself under some pressure and seeing if you can chase down a big total.
Yeah, well, Sonia Dabur is all smiles because it's exactly what India needed. I think this is the kind of performance from the batting lineup against a team like Australia is exactly what you need at this stage of the tournament, Sonia.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, we were talking initially in the pre-match show about Mithali, and as I said that these kind of players, they know when they are going to step in. To be honest, the way Mithali played, Yastika Bhatia supported her really well. That was kind of a pressure release from the other end when these both were batting. They were rotating the strike very well, and that cameo from Pooja Vastrakar, that was an excellent way to support Harmanpreet Kaur when you have both these batters that they were running those twos very nicely. That six from Vastrakar, it was really amazing to see the way she batted today. Actually,
Yes, it was actually a sight to watch, and no one got really intimidated. They were really in their zone. It was lovely cricket out there by some of the youngsters, and the senior players stood up and delivered. So just to look at the scorecards, then just to see how that first innings panned out for both the teams. If you remember, Australia won the toss and decided to bowl first, and got off to a great start. They sent back two of the most powerful openers, Shafali and Smriti, back with some very good efforts in the field. But that middle order that has been sort of failing them over the last few games in this tournament sort of stepped up. And they are the reason why the engine room, as we know, and we keep calling them, is why India reached that commanding 277 with some amazing lower order demolition by Pooja there. And if we had a look at the bowling card as well, not something that Australia would be too entirely happy with, as Julia was briefly mentioning. quite a few of them going for runs and surprises there. So just I think let's sort of talk about this that you briefly mentioned as well. You get someone like Darcie Brown in. She gives you that breakthrough at the top, and she ends up having a good start for you. But why doesn't she come back in, Julia? What's the reason for something like that to have happened?
Yeah, I've sort of discussed this a little bit with regards to Meg Lanning's captaincy. I think sometimes she just sort of gets a little sort of hint of the T20s about her and just wants to change up the bowling far too often. And sometimes, you just need to go back to the people that are performing well on that day, on that wicket, and that changes. It's not always the same person. Obviously, Elise Perry didn't get off to a great start, and she ended up not bowling so much. But at the same time, when someone like Darcie Brown, and she's not going to finish the game for you, so she can nearly have in her own head that I've got to bowl out Darcie Brown before the 40th over. So she just didn't come back. She brought her back in the 30th over for 3 overs. Probably could have kept her going. She wasn't going for too many. She picked up a wicket in that time as well, which was fantastic. Yeah. But, I don't know. I just think sometimes she just overcomplicates it a little bit, maybe gets a little impatient with trying to take the wicket or slow things down. And understandably, because, India were putting on such an amazing partnership as well. But same time, I think Darcie Brown was still getting some good movement. She's still challenging everyone with her pace, and there was some good bounce as well in the wicket, which I think was, causing a few issues. And Mithali Raj, for a few times, there was sort of popping a few balls up and around, didn't really want to pull the ball at all. So that's where I would have brought, maybe even someone under the helmet. We haven't seen anyone do that this tournament, just to put that little bit of extra pressure on these batters and really sort of start to stretch them and see, how they're going to start adapting their game when it's, it was pretty easy for a while there for them.
Yes, and before we kind of speak about that Indian batting effort in the middle, and we want to get into that in a while, just to sort of continue on this conversation, Sonia, surprised by the way some of the Australian bowlers showed up today. I mean, they couldn't really manage to swing things in their favor, and barring a few moments, which we will of course come to. Your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Even a bit, I was really surprised to see those wides end of the innings, and rightly said by Julia that the Darcy Brown was the one who got them wickets, and it was like she should have completed her spell of 10 overs for sure. Because she was the one who really troubled the batsman a bit other more than the other bowlers. So, yeah, definitely, a bit surprising even in the fielding today, I will say, even though the two catches in the beginning, but later on it was not that kind of the fielding which Australians are known for.
Yeah, the pressure sort of got to them for sure. Julia, just your thoughts on, let's say, I mean, we've spoken a bit about Mithali. We know the kind of run she had just in the games before, leading up to this particular match. Your thoughts on how she went about it? You did say that patience was going to be key.
For Smriti, did you say?
Mithali.
Oh, Mithali, yeah, absolutely. No, I thought she did a great job. I mean, she ended up with 68 off 96. And just, it came out when it was probably, there was a little, well, I suppose Yastika had been out there for a fair while, but they put on such a good partnership together. I thought she actually was a lot more patient. We could see that they were trying to maybe push for those singles a little earlier. Maybe not so much Yastika, but I thought Mithali Raj definitely was playing it a lot later underneath her eyes and just looked a lot more composed than she had in previous games where she was trying to go a little too hard at it. So, yeah, I thought her innings was a really nice one today. Her dismissal was a bit of an odd one against Alana King, just sort of hitting it straight down deep mid-wicket's throat. So with not too many other people out there, so that was a little disappointing, as I thought maybe this was the day that she was going to get that 100 against Australia, because she had just looked quite at ease the entire time through her innings. So again, good innings for her will bode well for the next couple of games for them, and they'll still require her to be anchoring some sort of innings like this so that you can get your Yastikas and your Harmanpreet Kaurs and even your Vastrakas to come out and do the job that they did and get to this sort of total. That's what they need to be doing.
Sonia, the key also was those partnerships, and India did that so well. There was one right at the top, and the other one actually, which we'll sort of again talk about. How well did they end up pacing that, phase to take it to where they ended up?
No, definitely. The important partnership between Yastika and Mithali set the tone for the Indian batters, because they knew what Harmanpreet coming in at number 5 can do when she's set in the field there.
Yeah.
So it was a very important one for the coming batters who are going to come in for the next after Mithali and Yastika. So that partnership definitely was very crucial, and today it was seen the way they were rotating the strike, which
Yeah.
we've been talking of. So that was clearly seen by both the batters, which
Yeah.
eased off the pressure of both of them, Mithali as well as Yastika. And later on, the way Harmanpreet Kaur and Vastrakar did those running between us, those shots, this was, the result of that partnership which they had got through Mithali and Yastika, I feel. I was a bit surprised to see Richa Ghosh getting out that way. It was not
Mm.
actually not necessary, because she is one of the batters who can hit as well. When you have Harmanpreet Kaur right in front of you, you just don't need to do anything different. You just keep playing your shots. But maybe with that, aggressive nature of hers just got her in that playing that predetermined shot.
Julia, a different sort of two different partnerships, and both sort of were perfect, especially going by the situation and the kind of runs that you needed at that stage. Just a word on Harmanpreet. What a fabulous tournament she's been having, despite, especially after a very tough last few months for her. Julia, you might have to unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. She was she was having a bit of a rough trot even leading into this tournament as well, and people were calling for her head a little bit. But yeah, it was nice to see her come back. I mean, we know how cleanly she can hit the ball and how well she does it. And I think she was fairly strongly criticised in one of the games that she probably went a little too late in one of the games that India did lose in the end. So today I thought, yeah, she came out with an amazing intent. I suppose the fact that when she did come out as well, it was getting towards the latter half of the innings anyway, and she did need to go from there. And her T20 form is fantastic. So to me, it was probably a really good thing for her to be able to come out and know what the role is. It's so difficult to bat in that middle order sometimes, because sometimes you're in the first 10 overs, or sometimes you're in the last 10 overs, and you've got to be able to adapt your game. And I thought this actually really suited her today. When she came in, it was just perfect. She knew that she had to get on with it, knock it round. And she went for overrun a ball, 57 off 47. So I think that's just perfect for her, because I think sometimes she can wait a little too long sometimes to go, and it's, she just sort of tries to get herself in. This one, knew what she had to do, and played that role beautifully.
Sonia, when Harmanpreet looks good, India looks good.
Definitely, for sure. We've seen that she can just single-handedly change the course of the game, and she has done it in the past as well. So this was the innings, or this is the form which definitely Harmanpreet herself was looking for before coming into the World Cup, and I'm really happy to see her scoring in every match almost.
How disappointed though, Julia? I mean, this is probably one of the few occasions we always see when India has reached a decent total that Smriti hasn't been a part of, hasn't massively contributed. And obviously she'd be disappointed. It's one of those. She's had 100. She had a fantastic knock alongside Harmanpreet against West Indies, but it isn't really. She'd always be wanting to do well, especially against a side like Australia.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You can't. It's sort of nice if they can sort of share around the responsibility and not just have it solely relying on her all the time. And today I thought it was a really good team effort from India, and that's what you want to be seeing, is that lots of people stepping up and scoring, and not necessarily the same people always scoring the runs for you. So yeah, obviously, I'm assuming Australia's done a fair bit of work. They had that 1.5 slip set perfectly for her, with the ball swinging into her from Darcie Brown at a bit of a hard length. So I thought that was great from them, and it's challenging in that top order, and probably a little tricky early this pitch. It might have had a little bit of extra bounce in it than they were expecting, but I wouldn't be concerned. We know what a quality player she is, and she'll no doubt step up next game and get them off to that great start. But generally, I thought it was just a good team effort from India today, and I think they should be pretty happy with the situation they're in right now.
Yes, and just to sort of, I know it was a good effort, but just to sort of round this up as well, I think that last over by Jonathan was fabulous. I mean, to stop these two batters who looking so good, to sort of touch somewhere close to 280 plus 290, and sort of get them to just sort of get those singles and twos. Great effort there, wouldn't you think, Sonia?
Yeah, definitely. For a spinner to bowl this last over or last few overs and curtailing the run, especially when Harman and Pooja were going great guns. Definitely, the areas which he bowled were really what you can say, the perfect areas to bowl in the last overs, and that's the result. They couldn't, you know. Have those fours and sixes in that last overs, because that was a very crucial over. But
Hmm.
yeah, definitely, that was the plan maybe for the judge, for Jess Johnson.
Yes, and let's quickly then look forward to that run chase because that's going to be very, very interesting. We know Australia can do it; they have the people for it. Julia, how first of all, how do you see this playing out? Because this is going to be quite interesting. This is the interesting part.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting part. We haven't seen Lisa Healy get some runs yet for a little while. She'll be, really gung ho trying to get out there and be attacking. Australia at the moment, though, in the power play, are sort of coming around fourth in their power play. They're not amazing through the power play, but they're not losing too many wickets. Rachel Haynes has been excellent, obviously leading the run scoring at the moment. So I think they're going to gain. She's the one that they sort of base things around. She's the calm head, the experienced player, and she'll just keep knocking it around. And Meg Lanning is going to be absolutely desperate to get some runs. She hasn't had any runs for the last couple of innings, going hard at it. But I think she'll just be a little more patient when she comes out this time, and a little maybe more respectful to the bowling a little earlier on in her innings. But they've got such a deep batting order from Australia. I think the good thing about what Australia have been doing in the past is actually just sort of getting through their power play, sort of around that 4 and over. And then sort of increasing it really nicely, going through the gears through that middle section and absolutely nailing it in their death overs. They've been going at over a 10 in the last sort of 10 overs. So that's the danger period for India, is to really make sure that they've got their plans in place for that final sort of onslaught. If Australia have still got those wickets in hand, but I think key early wickets is the key for India early on, and just sort of see what they can get out of this pitch, later in the day.
Sonia, exactly. I mean, that's a batting order that can chase down any total we've seen, and they do it very, very easily. They don't do it without struggling too much. What would India be going into that sort of defense thinking? What would they be thinking in terms of a plan in place, Sonia?
Yeah, definitely. Stopping those runs and maybe bowling those more dot balls can be the
Mm.
thing which India will be thinking to do, because as rightly mentioned by Julia, that they have the depth in the batting order. They have Talia McGrath, who is a great all rounder, coming in at almost 6 and 7. So at the same time, India have done really well last match, almost restricting England and defending 135. So the bowlers have been in good form. So I hope they continue doing the same in this match.
Julia, just a word on the Indian bowling unit as well before we sort of look at a few key batters for Australia. They do have a very strong, someone like a Meghna Singh who's sort of hit her stride in the last few games. Led by Julian Goswami, that opening new ball combination is sure to put the pressure right at the start of the affair.
Yeah, I mean, I love the areas that Goswami's bowling in. I think, again, she'll really benefit from the sort of steep bounce she can get early with the new ball with a little bit of seam in there. I think Gaikwad's been fantastic. I think she'd be really good. And it wouldn't surprise me if they maybe bring a spinner in just a little earlier. I mean, we spoke about Jess Johnson coming in a little earlier today, which she did, which was good to see. And she bowled pretty well as well. So it wouldn't surprise me. Just to really, we've seen that Alyssa Healy sort of, she got out caught and bowled against the West Indies the other day, trying to be that really attacking sort of player early on. So I think that change of pace and just maybe a few surprises. India seem to have a fairly stable
Yes.
top two that they keep opening with. So that it's a little predictable and maybe a little easy to plan for. So I think it'd be really good just to throw a spinner in there just to see how they're going through that middle order and really test out the openers to make sure that they can face both pace and spin.
Just one question before we get to the predictions. Sonia, any particular battle that you're really, really looking forward to? Because this is going to be a very interesting contest between these two teams now.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see the battle between Meghna Singh and Alisa Healy for sure. And
Hmm.
I won't be surprised to see if Sneha Rana comes in early, maybe for 1 or 2 overs, the way she's bowling. So, yeah, definitely looking forward for it.
Okay, prediction times. Julia, you obviously feel Australia's going to chase this down.
I would like to think so, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, obviously, India's a quality side, and 277's a big chase. And I don't know if anyone would have chased that much. I have to look up that
No.
stat, but I don't think anyone would have chased that many before. But they are in good form. They have won, all their games so far. They've got some really good players in some really good form, and with their middle order is what I really like is the fact that they've got like your Tally McGraths, your Ash Gardners. You've got the big hitters that can come through and really take a game away from a team really quickly. But at the same time, they haven't played on Eden Park. At least they've got to see it now, I suppose, and bowl first. But I would hope that they could chase this down and maybe be 6 down. Maybe.
All right, Sonia, your thoughts? How's this gonna go on?
Yeah, definitely, it's not going to be easy for sure because I think if I'm right, previous in this World Cup, Australia hasn't chased much. Only once they have chased, and that too against West Indies, and that was a pretty low total. So it is going to be very difficult for them. And as rightly mentioned by Julia, it's 277 is not being chased as yet. So looking forward and hoping they don't chase.
Yes, we'll see how that contest goes on, but that's a fair point. That's a very good point. So they haven't really chased here, and they're more of a let's set the big one and stifle the opponent in the end. But it's an interesting chase there down at Auckland, India versus Australia. Australia needs 278 to win this one. Why don't you have a look at the action and come back after that for the post-match analysis right here at the Outside View? Thank you. We have a bit of a technical glitch, do we?